me. I'm going to bring this up on my phone. Oops, not that one. Yes, there we go. Live on YouTube. Cool, hey? Okay. Okay, that should be working. All right, so just let me mute that and pause that. Okie dokie, apparently we're live on YouTube. Looks like it's working. All right, I'm going to get the link for you guys in the Zoom. As I said, if it's not formatting properly on your computer or the screen looks blurry, you'll have to watch this on YouTube Live, okay? So I'll pop this link into the chat for all of you people in the live class. You can see it there. And I'll turn the chat off so you can just chat with me, nobody else. Cool. So tonight we're not going to write an essay. I think you've probably seen enough of that. We're going to look at what I think is probably the most important tip. And on that, I may as well start recording. So just let me get my stuff together. Okie dokie, this looks fine. It's running a bit slow. What's going on with my computer? Come on, computer. Okay, I think it's working. Cool, I think it's working. And I'll press record there. Hello, everybody. My name is Jay. I'm one of the expert IELTS teachers here at E2 Language. What we're going to do is not write an essay. Instead, we're going to look at some top tips. One tip in particular, which I'm afraid to say will come right at the end of this presentation, but I need to take you through this presentation so that that tip at the end really makes sense to you and so you fully utilize it to your benefit. So what we're going to do specifically is look at real tips for how to score an 8+ in writing task 2, okay? Let me first tell you my little experience. Maybe you've heard this before, maybe you haven't. I'm an English teacher, obviously. I'm a native English speaker. I had to take the IELTS 4 times before I got a decent score in writing. I could get 9s in reading, listening, and speaking. No problem, it was still challenging. But writing, I got stuck on 7.5 3 times. And so I did some investigation into why it is that I got stuck and why so many people get stuck at sort of 6.5 to 7. And it turns out that there are certain ways that you need to write your essay in order to boost your score. So one of those ways is looking at grammar. And that's what we're going to look at here. These ugly looking things are what the examiners use to mark your writing. And there's one here which focuses on 2 things. Grammatical range and grammatical accuracy, okay? These 2 things are key for boosting your score. The first one, grammatical range, means variety of sentence types, okay? You need to use a variety of different sentence types to boost your score. And grammatical accuracy, well, it means grammatical accuracy, that your sentences are correct and accurate, and there's S on the end of plural nouns, and you use articles properly, and your verb tenses are straight, etc. Have a look at these 2 paragraphs. These 2 paragraphs have perfectly accurate grammar. Okay, so imagine that you wrote these 2 paragraphs and everything you wrote was just 100% accurate. However, there's a big problem here, and that problem is range. These sentences are all simple sentences or compound sentences. There are no complex sentences. There are no modal verbs. There are no question sentences. There are no conditionals. They're all just simple sentences. So what score do you think you would get for grammar? You would get a 4, because here in the criteria, what the examiners look at, it says rare use of subordinate clause. I'm going to show you what a subordinate clause is in a minute, but the maximum score you can get, if you do not use a variety of sentence structures is 4. Okay, so even if your accuracy is 9, but your range is 4, your score for grammar will be 4. That's the highest you can possibly get. So let's say you wrote perfectly on task and you answered the essay question and the examiner gave you an 8 for that part. And this way that you structured the essay and structured your paragraphs, the examiner gave you an 8 for that part. And your vocabulary was excellent. It was very wide ranging. So the examiner gave you an 8 for that part, but the examiner gave you a 4 for grammar because your range was limited. In that case, the average for your total writing band score would be 7 because the 4 brings it down to 7. And let's say the same thing happened here. You got 7 for task, 7 for structure, 7 for vocab, and 4 for grammar. The maximum score you can get for writing then, because of the grammar score, is 6, right? So the super tip is this. You need to use a wide variety of sentence types in your essay. And if you don't, the same thing will happen to you that happened to me, and your mark will get stuck on something poor, okay? So what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to look at different sentence types. I'm going to show you seven? I can't remember, 6 or 7 different sentence types, but we're specifically going to focus in on complex sentences and a particular type of complex sentence called a subordinate clause. Don't worry, it sounds crazy, but it's pretty easy. You probably already know it. So let's have a look. So in fact, I want to show you 6 different sentence types. First of all, let's start with simple sentences. These are obviously quite straightforward. So a simple sentence has one idea. Let's use the question prompts. Let's say the question prompt said something about the government should tax sugary drinks. That's your writing task 2 essay prompt or part of it. So here are 3 simple sentences. This is 1, 2, 3. Sugar makes people unhealthy. Okay, it's got a subject, it's got a verb, and it's got an object here. Or people gain weight from sugar. Okay, it's again, subject, verb, object. Sugar harms people's teeth. These 3 are examples of simple sentences. You should definitely include simple sentences in your essay, but again, it's about variety. So let's look at compound sentences. Compound sentences are when you have one idea plus another idea. For example, let's say the question prompt again is government should tax sugary drinks. You say sugar makes people unhealthy and it harms their teeth. So here we're using a conjunction like and, for, yet, but, so, or nor. There's a few different conjunctions or different ways that you can create a compound sentence. Fine. These ones, though, are the critical ones. You need to include what I'm about to show you into your essay, and I suggest you include at least five of these complex sentences using these words. These are the words the IELTS examiners look for. These are the sentence types that create subordination, which I'll show you in a second. After, although, as, because, before, even if, even though, if, in order that, once, provided that, rather than, since, so that, than, that, though, unless, until, when, whenever, where, whereas, who, whether, while, and which. Okay? So let's have a look at some examples here. So what a complex sentence does, it coordinates 2 or more ideas into a single sentence. So the prompt is the government should tax sugary drinks. My complex sentence using the connector while is this. While some people will support the tax, others will be against it. So let's remove this and let's have a look at, let's say it just said some people will support the tax, full stop. Others will be against it. So here I've got 2 simple sentences, but if I use one of these subordinate clause type words like while, I can create a complex sentence, okay? And these are the sentences that make you win in IELTS writing. So what I did on my 4th attempt, after I investigated and did all this homework and realized what was going on and actually had a meeting with the IELTS people, when I wrote my 4th attempt, I thought, okay, Usually when I write essays or emails or whatever, I like to write short, simple sentences because I believe that they're clearer, but that's not what you should do in the IELTS. You need to use a variety, as I said. So what I did on the 4th attempt was I use a whole variety of different sentence types. I use complex ones and compound ones and simple ones. I even put questions in, made sure they were passive. I used modal verbs, but I made sure that I had at least 5 of these complex structures. Now I want you to try to write a few, okay? I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write 3 complex sentences. The prompt is the government should tax sugary drinks. So your complex sentence will go, although comma, full stop. Or so that because comma, So try to fill these gaps with some information from the prompt. You have 2 minutes to write 3 complex sentences to increase your IELTS band score starting now. Okay, maybe you need more time. I'm seeing people are sort of still on the first type of sentence. Let me push on. What I want you to do, if you haven't finished, I want you to pause the video, go back and finish those 3 sentences, okay? I'm going to show you mine, but if you haven't finished, please go back and do that now. Let me show you mine. Okay, here are my examples. Although people will benefit, companies will suffer. Again, let's look at this because what's going on? Let's say we get rid of this and we just have people will benefit, companies will suffer. 2 simple sentences. Or I can make a complex sentence using this powerful word here. What about so that? The government should tax sodas so that the public becomes healthier. Okay, again, I've got 2 simple sentences, but I've created a complex sentence using so that. What about number 3? Using the word because at the beginning of the sentence. Because people are becoming more obese, the government should tax sugary drinks. There you go. It's actually, I shouldn't say it's not that hard. It's hard to get these accurate and you definitely need to practice them because as I said, without them, 4 is the maximum score you can get in grammar, okay? I seriously mean that. You can double check the criteria if you want. They're extraordinarily important sentence types. So the big take-home message is this. You need to use complex sentences in your writing task 1 and 2, by the way. Use it in both of your writing tasks. Let's have a quick look at the other sentence types before we finish. So passive sentences. So the prompt again, the government should tax sugary drinks. Well, a passive sentence is when you reverse the order of the subject and the object. For example, here's the active sentence. Food scientists know that sugary drinks are addictive. But let's say we want to reverse this order and we don't want to talk about food scientists. We can say sugary drinks are known to be addictive. Okay, so I've created a passive form from the active form there. So passive sentences are also important in your writing to show variety. Let's have a look at a question sentence. But would a sugar tax really work? My suggestion here is to use one question in your essay. I think they work really well if they're placed properly, okay? They can work really well in, I put one in my last one where I got the 8.5, and I think I put it in the introduction. But it was just a short, simple sentence as a question type. And it just created a nice sort of narrative voice for the essay. And it just added to my variety. So do think about putting perhaps one question into your essay there, because it can work well. And the last one are conditional conditional sentences. These are somewhat complex. These are conditional sentences are sentences that start with if sentences. So if the government had taxed sugary drinks earlier, then we would not have an obesity issue now. So how do you strike a balance though between grammatical range and grammatical accuracy? Because perhaps if you're attempting to use a wider variety of sentence types, your accuracy will go down. Or maybe if you're trying to be very accurate, your grammatical range will go down. So how do you strike that balance between variety and accuracy? That's a critical question. The question is, do you need to strike a balance? Here's the thing. If you do not attempt, if there is rare use of subordinate clauses, in other words, you rarely use complex structures, then you will get a 4, okay? But if you attempt complex sentences, even if they're less accurate, remember this is the same thing that the IELTS examiners are looking at when they're marking your writing, you can get a 5. Of course, even if, let's say you're a native English speaker, so your accuracy is 9, you should definitely try to attempt a wide variety of different sentence structures, because then it will just boost your score. But even if your English is quite poor and you're worried about accuracy, at least try to use a wide variety. So the take-home message, the key point that I wanted to talk about right at the beginning, which I led you through, is this. Variety, sentence variety, is more important than sentence accuracy. So on test day, you should attempt to use a wide variety of sentence types, including the 6 that I showed you in this live class. And even if the accuracy is not 100%, doesn't matter. It will increase your chances of scoring better than if you are conservative and just attempt simple structures. That, my friend, is the end of that presentation. If you need help with your IELTS in any way, speaking, listening, reading, writing, check out e2language.com. Sign up for free. And you may want to think about upgrading your account for one-on-one tutorials, writing feedback, lots of practice questions, sample essays, overview lessons, methodology lessons like this one that take you through everything. The course can last, well, there's a lot of material. It can last about 3 to 6 months if you want to do it slowly, or you can blast through it in about a week to get the main stuff there. So do check out that website. If you have any questions, do check out this one here. Go to help.e2language.com, help.e2language.com. So it's the same as this, but help.e2language.com. Ask your question. We'll get back to you with an answer. Okay? Cool bananas. Now, what I'll do is do a little Q&A, but then I'm going to go home soon. Okay, question time, question time, question time. Go ahead, Sujanya, ask your question. That's fine. I'll go to YouTube Live for questions. So how can I write continuously even if I don't have any idea regarding the topic? Okay, yeah, good question. Well, you will have an idea regarding the topic. The topics are never abstract. They're just normal topics like, you know, taxing sugary drinks. Should the government tax sugary drinks? Or, you know, should the government put more public transport in, or whatever the question prompt is. It's not going to be something that you haven't thought about before or something that you can't think about in the moment. So don't worry too much about that. By the way, if you're on YouTube Live, you're not a subscriber, click the subscribe button. So when we do a live stream, you'll be notified on your phone. Jay, can you give some details about the online reading and listening IELTS? Yeah, yep. I think that's what you mean. Yeah, so in Australia at the moment, they've got new testing centers, computer-based IELTS testing centers. So you no longer have to handwrite your essay. The reading and the listening is done on the computer. It's still extremely challenging, but I think the writing's a little bit, I wouldn't say easy, it's just fairer because a lot of people can't handwrite these days, including me. Jay, how can I improve my brainstorming? That's a good question. So when you get a question prompt, you need to think about what you're going to write before you start writing. If you start writing immediately without thinking about what you're going to write, you're going to run into problems, okay? So you need to think for a little while, 30 seconds, a minute, about what you're going to write, really analyze and understand that question prompt. You have about 40, 45 minutes to write this. Draw up a little plan. What's your paragraph 1 going to be? What's your paragraph 2 going to be? What's your overall opinion and position going to be? That's critical. And then once you've done that, understood it, then you can start to write, okay? So it's hard to say how to brainstorm, but give yourself a little bit of time to think. Jay, can you tell us about all the different types of essays? I think there's 7 different essay types. I'll try to, there are 5. There are 2 with and without opinion, but there are 5. Let me see if I can remember. So there's problem solution, talk about the problems and the solutions for global warming, whatever. There's the advantages and disadvantages. There's the opinion, you know, to what degree do you, to what extent do you agree, or is this a positive development, or what is your opinion? There's the, I'm definitely going to forget these now. If you don't know, go up there and look for the video IELTS essay types, and you'll see it. I've forgotten, sorry. Budrule, congratulations for 100,000 subscribers. Thank you, thank you. That's, yeah, it's a good achievement. Thank you very much. If you're a subscriber, thank you for subscribing. If you're not, think about it. What if my task is over 300 words, but my writing task 1 is only 100 words? Well, you will immediately lose a band score or around a band score for your task 1. Your task 1 needs to be 150 words at least, and task 2 needs to be at least 250 words. So it doesn't matter if you go over, but you cannot go under. Okay. Okay. If we don't use a variety of sentences, but our sentences are accurate, then can we get a good band score? No. You can get a maximum of 4. How can I improve writing alone at home? Any method we could practice alone? It's pretty hard. I mean, you can follow the lessons that we've created, that E2 Language has created. But the critical thing about writing is getting feedback from somebody who's an expert, because it's just, you just don't know what you're doing wrong. And as soon as you know what you're doing wrong, you can rectify it, you can improve. So it's kind of hard. It's a good idea, but it's kind of hard. Shivakumar, what is the best practice for good sentence formation? Well, writing, sentences can be so unbelievably complex. So do some reading, but next time you're reading, think about the way that the author has written sentences and the types of sentences that he or she has used. Simple, compound, complex, conditional, question forms, negative forms, passive forms. Start to become a bit more conscious of sentence types. Then when you're writing, you can actually start to implement them. Jay, is the opinion essay the same as the agree-disagree question? Yes, there's different forms that the opinion essay takes. Do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree or disagree? What is your opinion? What do you think about this? Is this a positive or a negative development? These are all opinion essays, just in a slightly different way. I mean, the wording's different, but they're all opinion essays. Here's an interesting one. Jay, if I use complex sentences and a good structure with many linking words, I still got 5.5. Okay. Linking words are not your friend, by the way. Words like however, therefore, as a result, moreover, do not overuse these words. Again, in the IELTS criteria, it's in vocabulary. It says if the writer overuses these linking words, their score gets stuck at, I think it's about 5, okay, for vocabulary. So you want to use those words, but only use maybe 3 max in your entire essay and make sure that they actually work properly. Basically what happens is people overuse these words. They say, global warming is a problem. However, the oceans are not expanding. As a result, fish are dying. For example, it's just like linking word between every sentence, and it's not a good way to write. Here's a great question. Mohammed, does the complexity of the idea count, or can it be trash work, but the sentence is structured? Okay, so you're talking about the task, whether you're writing on topic and how you answer the question. If you write a really, well thought out, sophisticated, complex answer, will you get a higher score than somebody who just writes a sort of generic, cliched response? Excuse me. The answer is not necessarily. This is a problem that I face. When I write these essays, I automatically want to be really philosophical and deep and complex, but I don't think that rewards you. As long as you provide evidence and examples for what you're saying, doesn't matter if your opinion's really boring and generic and normal, that's fine. As long as your ideas are expanded out and extrapolated upon, etc. Jay, I am an 8-year-old girl and my dad is teaching me IELTS. That's cool. That's yeah. Well, you should be very well prepared when you take the IELTS when you're getting ready for university. That's awesome. Jay, should we give our opinion in both the introduction and conclusion? Yes, I think that's a good idea. Your position should be very clear throughout the essay, even in the paragraphs. Well, you're not saying in my opinion, but make it clear what your opinion is, whether you're for or against something. What happens if I go off topic in my body paragraph in essay 2? Well, yes, you'll lose points for task achievement. Jay, can you suggest good reading material for IELTS to score 7+? I know this fantastic website. It's really, really good. I think it's called e2language.com. Is it important to include examples in writing task 2 in the paragraphs? Yes, you have to include examples in each paragraph, in the body paragraphs. Jay, I got a 6 the last 2 exams I took. Can I get a 7 if I practice these methods? Yeah, well, it's hard to say, but that would definitely help you if you implement them correctly. Jay, in writing task 1, can we put words and phrases in brackets? Yeah, try not to. It's a bit clumsy. Okay, back to Zoom. Let me answer some questions here. What is a tutorial in E2 language? A tutorial is, well, it's like this, right? You're using Zoom. If you're watching this on Zoom, it's like Skype, right? You just meet somebody on Skype, but Zoom's a little bit more sophisticated. So we have excellent teachers around the world, ex-IELTS examiners, teachers who have been teaching IELTS for like decades, right? These people know this test back to front. So what you do is, let me show you, actually, let me show you. Just give me 1 second. I'll show you how it works because it's pretty cool. Give me 1 second. Cool. All right. I think that's working. All right. I'm going to show you how the tutorial booking system works and what happens when you book a tutorial. Cool banana. So this is E2 language. I just logged in as a student, right? So first of all, you'll see the live class schedule. So right now we're on Thursday doing IELTS writing task 2, but we also do general writing task 1, academic writing task 1. Wednesday we do reading. Fridays we do speaking and listening. Here's my score. Here's how I book a tutorial. I click this link and a schedule appears. Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's say I want to take a tutorial on Tuesday. So here are the times where I can take the tutorial. Let's say I want to take it. This will be in your time zone. I choose 11 p.m. I want to do writing task 2 and I submit. And that's what happens. But what I do before that in the course, I'll go to writing task 2. Here are all the different question types. And I go down and here's my assessment. So what I do before my tutorial with the expert teacher is, here's the question, here's the timer. I type my question here, I submit it, and the teacher receives it. So then when I meet the teacher for the one-on-one tutorial, the teacher can go through my writing with me and tell me what I did right, what I did wrong. And of course, I've watched all the methods lessons leading up to it, so I feel very confident. I know what to do. I know how to structure it. I know how to use complex sentences, etc. Yeah, so that's just a little taste of what E2 language is. It's pretty cool. If you're not a free member, do sign up for free. For the computerized version of the IELTS, do they give us a piece of paper to make notes? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Whale, when should I book my 3 tutorials if my test is at the end of this month? Well, just stagger it out. Maybe do 1 next week and maybe do 2 in the week before your exam, something like that. Sadaf, I want to be an IELTS expert. What should I do? I'm a microbiology graduate. Oh, wow. I mean, the hard thing about IELTS, or the testing centers don't give much away, right? So IDP and the British Council, they sort of give you enough to get an idea of what the test looks like and what the question types are, but they don't give you really in-depth information about how to structure anything like that. It's people like us that do that. So if you want to become an IELTS expert, I strongly suggest signing up to E2 language. I think we've done our homework and it's pretty solid. Okay, a couple more questions, then I'm going to go home. Oh, I gave the IELTS 10 times, but I'm unable to get 6 in writing. Oh man, you've got to get some help. You can't take this test 10 times. It's expensive and it's bad for your confidence. You need to get some help. You need to get some feedback. You need to get some positive, reinforcement. You can do it. But yeah, try. If that happens to you, if you start to fail, you have to break that cycle and get some help from people who know. I get continuously 5.5 in writing. Can you please guide me? Well, again, these exams are seriously hard. The first time I took it, I was like, whoa, I didn't realize it would be that hard. Jay, do you think it harms if we write more than 250 words in task 2? not really. I mean, 350, you just won't have time to write, 350 words because you still have to do task 1. So as long as you get to 250, that'll do. It won't increase your score if you write 350. Cool. I'm going to leave it there. How to upgrade my E2 language account. We'll make a free account or just log in straight off the website. I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thanks very much for coming along. I hope it was helpful. Yes, keep practicing and I'll see you soon. My colleague has just walked in the door.